This is Siren Tales, and let me just preface this by saying I use an AI voice changer, so if I mispronounce certain words, it's just the AI voice changer messing it up. So with that being said, let's talk about ICE and their enforcement action in South Nashville. All right, most of you have heard about the Immigration and Customs Enforcement targeted enforcement action. Everything I'm talking about is roughly the 4th through the 10th of this month. But it's hard to figure out all the numbers and compile them from different agencies. So roughly this week here. So ICE has descended on South Nashville, which is predominantly a Hispanic neighborhood. And in this week, they have arrested 196 people, 95 of which have prior criminal convictions, and 30 have re-entered after they've been deported. They had help from a couple of local agencies. The Tennessee Highway Patrol has conducted roughly 500 traffic stops in this time frame, mostly at night. I think this was strategic because it's easier to find what some may consider petty violations like tag lights, brake lights, and cell phone usage at night. It's easier to see that. It's also harder to see what race somebody is as they're driving at night. So it's easier to counter the argument that they were racially profiling if you do most of your stops at night. And it's also easier to find cars to stop for legitimate reasons. So mandated 500 stops, 94 detained for ICE, so roughly 1 out of 5 in this neighborhood. That's insane. Good job, THB. And 12 arrests on their own charges. So this might be DUIs, might be drug charges. So that's what the Highway Patrol did. The Davidson County Sheriff's Office, they wanted to make it clear that none of their people made traffic stops helping ICE with this, but they did provide booking support because it's mandated by law. They wanted to make sure that people knew that they only supported ICE because it's mandated that they do so. So great job, Davidson County. Nashville Metro PD did absolutely nothing. I think that is in part because ICE knows that the bleeding heart liberals in Nashville would allow these criminals to escape ICE, and they would absolutely tip them off. So they didn't tell them that they were coming. So they did actually request, they contacted Metro and asked for extra patrols around the ICE field office in Nashville because they were expecting protests there. But apparently this information was not relayed up the chain to the mayor or the civilian review board. So because the mayor of Nashville, Mr. O'Connell, was not told by his department that this was happening, he's actually put out an executive order to try to make communication better so that he can tip off all the illegal aliens that are living in Nashville. But he stated he had no idea this was happening, and he seemed extremely upset that he was not informed of this. Nashville has a community review board, which is a bunch of liberal people that are soft on crime, and they do not care about people going to jail and the rule of law being upheld. So, of course, they set up a tip line so that people can complain if they see a Metro officer involved in a immigration action. Here's some of the comments by citizens under their Twitter post about this. Now that we've seen the outrage from the committee review board and Mayor O'Connell, let's just the highlights of who's been removed. So a Mexican convicted of possession, drums are illegal, they should be removed from our streets. A Haitian convicted of dealing meth, getting slightly worse as we go. MS-13 member wanted for murder. A Iraqi convicted of SA. I'm happy to see that on YouTube. A Mexican convicted of aggravated assault, a felon convicted of domestic violence, and a child act. And he's been removed 6 times. Count them. He's been removed from our country 6 times. And this community review board and Mayor O'Connell wants to keep this person on our streets.